35 miles per hour from the city to the shore, the gustiest of winds down the shore with a high risk of rip currents.
This report is sponsored by Batteries Plus. Remember when you had a guy, someone who could fix anything? They're still out there at Batteries Plus with their quick solutions and expert advice on batteries, key fobs, and phone repair. Batteries Plus will have you in and out and on your way in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Parker's pitch, swung on, hit in the air, deep left field. Lyle going back, looking up, it's gone into the bullpen. And welcome back, Alec Bohm with a 3-run home run to open it up here in the second. 0-2, swing and a high fly ball, well hit. That one is on its way, and it is gone over the bullpen. Castellanos with a tremendous drive to left. He'll tack on a run for the Phils, his 16th of the year. And it's 9-6 Phillies.
Oh, Nick Castellanos, come on down. Alec Bohm, we missed the Aaron Nola. How you been? Phillies win. Final score 11-9 yesterday. Yeah, Aaron Nola. Yeah, he struggled just a little bit from his return from the IL. Phils did blow that 6-run lead, as you heard. Bats came alive, though. We like that. And this team improved to 71-53 on the season. A lot to like, right? Got the Seattle Mariners to come into town, right? Nothing big happening with the Phillies right now. Everything is just cool, calm, and get me to October, right, Luke?
No.
What in the hell happened this weekend? Let me just back it up and take it to Friday night with Duran.
Where do you want me to start?
Right? That was insane in its own right. And we'll have fun with that a little bit later because my man needs to go play soccer. Getting carted off and I get it. Could have been a bone bruise. Understood. But, I mean, I thought for sure that he was done for the year, broken bone, whatever. Everything is good. He comes back, walking around the next day, 100%, feels fine. We're smiles. We can make fun of it and move on with our day. And then all of a sudden, the Zach Wheeler news comes down. And I'm literally asking friends of mine, I'm like, am I being punked? Are you guys seeing this? Zach Wheeler, it's going to be done. It's got a blood clot. And I know everybody's trying to paint this rosy picture right now. And I hope you're right. I hope he's not done. But I don't think anybody of merit is out there saying that, yeah, you know what? A couple weeks, he's going to clear that up. He'll be back out there pitching in no time. That is not what I'm reading. So unfortunately, again, people want to have an issue with you getting on the timeline and making it. We're just having a conversation here. What could be potentially the outcome of a blood clot in his shoulder? And Zach Wheeler's season could very well be done. And if you had to ask me right now, if that's the way I feel, I do believe Zach Wheeler will be done for the rest of the season. And that is horrible because if you listen to this show, the first thing I've said all along is I get the bats and we get the PTSD from last year, but as long as you're rolling Wheeler and Sanchez out there 1-2, they can take games 1 and 2 in every series, no matter the opponent, including the World Series. And now Zach Wheeler is going to be done. What am I missing there, Luke? If you could fill in the blanks on that one.
No, I mean, you hit it pretty head on. So yeah, obviously the news comes out on Saturday. It was funny. I was down the shore. We had a big golf tournament this weekend, and we were all out in like the lagoon behind the house we were staying at. And my older brother comes up to me and he goes, "Zach Wheeler went to the IL." And I was like, "Oh, all right." Figured it was just 10, 15 day with some shoulder stiffness. Like we all assumed maybe was going to happen eventually. And he goes, "No, he has a blood clot." And I went, "Oh." And I think that was kind of everybody's reaction. Yeah, it's I would say gut wrenching.
Yeah.
To put it in the best term there. So Wheeler left Washington yesterday. They ran some tests today. I'm assuming word will be out. At least I don't think they're going to have all of the answers just yet. But I'm assuming some sort of update will come out either today or tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, it's just gut wrenching, man, because you go down, the sort of start to get down these dark paths when you hear about injuries like this, right? And you sit there and you're like, oh, well, Wheeler might not pitch again this year. And then you see some doctors, some guys that know what they're talking about come out and say, if the severity of this is high, then it can be more than just one season. And then you think about how Wheeler wants to retire at the end of the 2027 season, and like it's really, really a shame because the Phillies had a really, really good chance to win the World Series, and it's not like they don't anymore, right? Like I understand it; their chances take a hit, a major hit,
a little bit.
If Zach Wheeler can't pitch the rest of the season, but this puts a lot of pressure on everybody else. I think Christopher Sanchez has what it takes to be an ace, a number one on a team, but now he has to do it. The Aaron Nola you saw yesterday can't be the Aaron Nola that you get the rest of the season. Granted, I'm having a little bit of a hard time just completely writing him off, considering that was the first game he pitched in 3 months in the pros. I think you have to see just maybe 1 or 2 more. And if those continue to go like that, then yeah, I think he may be in trouble. You have to get the first half Ranger Suarez back now. Jesus Luzardo has to be the guy that he was in the first half. Taijuan Walker has to continue to pitch how he's been over the last month and a half. But it stinks. It's a very unfortunate situation. And I think you could just kind of see it in the Phillies on Saturday. I think that was just a punch in the gut to the entire clubhouse. They went out. They looked like they didn't want to be there on Saturday. It was a really ugly, quick game right after they heard about the Wheeler news. And you just hope, first of all, that Zach Wheeler, the person, is okay, because Zach Wheeler, the person, is more important than Zach Wheeler, the Philly. Once they figure out everything with whatever's going on in his shoulder, hopefully they get that figured out for the sake of his health. But for the sake of the baseball team as well, it's arguably one of the biggest blows they could have possibly had to their team with just a month and a half left in the regular season.
No doubt about that. The odds not really too much of a movement, still holding steady. Second in line as far as odds on favorite to win the National League at plus 350. Dodgers still at plus 210 to win it all. Currently, the Phillies are still second in the running as far as odds on favorite, plus 650. Dodgers plus 360. Brew Crew still some really good value there on the Brewers at 8-1. Again, yeah, I have to be fully honest with what I've been saying, and I can't change my tune now. Like, I would sit here and tell you that this rivals a Schwarber injury. Like, if Schwarber was hurt, then maybe I would be singing a different tune. But even without Harper or without Bohm or without JT, whatever, I still feel like that this team still should be in the conversation for World Series champion. A lot can change over these next few weeks. I could change my opinion, absolutely, if the bats start all of a sudden, getting the CPR done to them the last week of September, and they look like they did yesterday, throwing up 11 runs, albeit against the Nationals. Yeah, okay, and they start doing that for a few weeks. But right here, right now, losing Wheeler is about as a worse injury as you could possibly have. I would say Schwarber and Wheeler on that same page. But, man, like I said, all of this this whole summer, it's been based around 1 and 2. 1, 2. any one of those series, Wheeler and Sanchez can win those 2 games, and now you're up 2 games to none, regardless of what your bats do. And if they're going to be without Wheeler, that is just such a blow. I honestly didn't even think it was real. I didn't think it was real. Yeah. And then in my mind, I'm saying to myself, okay, this is how dirty my mind works. I'm like, all right, well, they got to get Nola up here. They're going to bump it down. Maybe it's not exactly a blood clot. Maybe. And I'm like, no, dude, they're not going to say that. They would say shoulder tightness. They'd say a little groin issue. They're not going to say blood clot. No, this is real. And you're right.
Yeah,
it comes back to the player. It comes back to the human being. No doubt about it. I don't think we were saying that when Wemby went down to a point, because it wasn't a Philadelphia 76er. Let's just put it that way. But this is a Philly. This is a guy we care about. So you're right. I mean, first and foremost, it's got to come down to the father, the man who he is, and of course the guy who represents our city every single time he takes the mound. But man, it's just, as far as the forecast for this team, that is a huge, huge blow.
Yeah, and it wouldn't, if this was a Phantom IL thing, it would say Zach Wheeler goes to the 10-day IL with shoulder stiffness. Mm-hmm. This is a real, I don't know if I can call it an injury. This is a medical condition, I think, is probably the best thing to call it at this point. It's a shame. Yeah, I mean, it's not something you see every day. I can't sit here and tell you that if he had shoulder stiffness, he'd be out 2 weeks, because that's what shoulder stiffness usually is. We don't usually see this a lot in baseball or in sports. So, once again, hopefully everything comes out okay. Wheeler gets everything removed. But, I mean, it's hard to sit here and say after you watch your horse go down, but as they say everywhere, the show must go on, because, they still have a goal. They still have a World Series to win. And, maybe this is one of those situations that they can rally around. I don't know. I mean, is that me talking myself into something? Maybe. But I saw a lot of people throwing around today, the Eagles could have folded in 2017 when Carson Wentz went down.
Sure.
And, they rallied around it. It seemed like everybody kind of just knew that they had to do a little more. And it worked. Maybe Aaron Nola gets a little more pressure put on him now and starts to really tune things back up. Maybe Jesus Luzardo gets back to that first half guy. They're going to need a few of those things to happen. But, to sit here and say their World Series aspirations are down the drain, I don't think it's right. I think anyone that says that is wrong. But it's obviously a big hit.
No, and you know what? I always refer to the odds, and why would I change right now? Yep. There wasn't such a drastic fall for the Phillies, little movement, if any, but all in all, they still are saying, the odds makers are saying, that the starting pitching staff, the bullpen, some of the moves that they made in the offseason are at the trade deadline. And oh, by the way, which I want to get to now, possibly a AAA call-up or two. Where are we at with these discussions right now? Let's, of course, start with Painter. Wouldn't this be again, we got time. Today's the day. They're going to get the tests. Who knows, right? But let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, Wheeler not looking good. If any, you're probably not going to get anything this year. Painter's got to get the call, correct?
So I would assume so, because I say that because they were planning on going to potentially a 6-man rotation when Nola came back before the Zach Wheeler incident happened. So now that it has happened, it seems like they have to continue to go that route. I mean, they threw out Andrew Painter as a possibility before the Wheeler thing happened. I can't imagine his odds decreased after that injury to come up. They haven't made anything official yet, but I think it's definitely on the table because, they want to get these guys some rest. I think they want to give Ranger a little more rest. I think ideally, they want to give Sanchez a few extra days rest here and there before the playoffs. If Zach Wheeler can't pitch the rest of this season, Christopher Sanchez is your game 1 ace. Mm-hmm. And I have all the confidence in the world of him going out there and beating any team in baseball. But, he could use an extra few days off his feet, I think, before October. So, you know, I think a six-man definitely could be on the table, you know, in these next few weeks here. As far as the outfield, I don't know, because I think there's a lot of dates that I think people were kind of throwing out there that it could have happened, and all those dates have passed, and we still haven't seen Justin Crawford yet. At this point, I think the best case or the most likely scenario is potentially that September 1st day where the rosters expand. They go from 26 to 28 that day. Usually they bring up one more position player and one more pitcher. You know, I don't know who that other position player would be other than Crawford at that point. So I think that could potentially be the day for him. But, you know, right now it's just kind of working through it, you know, figuring it out what works. They made a little bit of a roster move today. Nolan Hoffman, who they acquired a few months ago from the Rangers, got recalled. Max Lazar was optioned down to AAA. But, you know, I think, you know, this is a situation, once again, we say all year ebbs and flows. This is one of the ebbs here.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, just have to continue to work through it. Bats looked good on Sunday. It's definitely something they can build off of. Nick Castellanos, a guy who's really been struggling, had his first multi-hit game Sunday since August 1st. That's definitely something they could build off of. Alec Bowman, his first game back, multiple hits. A really good series in Washington for Trey. Schwarber, obviously, with another homer, that bomb into the second deck. Harper went yard this series. So, you know, a lot of things to build on there from the offense. But, you know, once again, you just have to keep working through it. You know, every team goes through injuries, and for a Phillies team over, you know, this, I would call this era, you know, from 2022 to now, you know, other than the Rhys Hoskins injury back in 2023, this has been a fairly healthy team.
Very true.
Compared to a lot of other teams. You know, this is the first really, I would say, huge injury other than the Rhys one in this era.
Yeah, look, you're realistic with it. They've been very fortunate. It's just the timing, building up. You know, when the Yankees lost Garrett Cole, forgive me, I don't even think he made a regular season start, did he? Maybe he made. Yeah, I don't think he did. So it's like, okay, if you're going to tell me I'm going to be without the number one pitcher for the whole season, yeah, you could throw that in my face. Well, at least you got the production for Wheeler, and he was pretty damn good for all those starts. You're right. It's just, again, it's the expectations. It's a weekend. He wasn't even pitching. It was just like, all right, yeah, we're good. And the next thing you know, you're starting to get you get the Duran news in, and of course you get the Nolas coming up here, going to get his start. Bohm's coming back, so you get a lot of these things moving in your favor, and then to just get lumped upside the head with Zach Wheeler blood clot, and you're just like, wait, what? That's probably going to take him off the mound for the rest of the season. How? What?
Yeah. And
here we are. And that's just the realistic point of view as a fan, right? Like, let's just call it what it is. We're fans here. We want to be tuned in to September baseball and watch Wheeler mow him down with that magic number, which is, oh, by the way, what, Luke Arcaini?
That Wheeler fastball?
No, what's the magic number at?
34.
All right.
34.
Just checking.
Big fan.
Just checking. Yeah, just checking, making sure you knew.
Oh, I know.
But that's my point. How great would it have been the last 2 weeks of the season when Wheeler gets to the mound, he's mowing him down 7-8 innings, and you're starting to believe that it's going to be a red October, that we're going to all get behind him. We still will. But damn it, Zach Wheeler is a huge loss. And forgive me if we get news today that says, hey, look, it's not as bad as we believed. He'll be ready to go in a month. I hope you're right. Me, I'm probably a little bit more pessimistic when it comes to that side of things. Anyways, let's keep it moving. No need to continue to hit that because we're all feeling it. Let's talk about the fact that they did win yesterday, and now they got themselves a pretty good series against a Seattle Mariners team that's looked a little bumpy in these last two series, including yesterday against the New York Mets out there at Williamsport. Oh, by the way, Cal Raleigh did go yard, I think 47. If I'm not mistaken.
47 bombs.
Oh, my God. It's incredible. All right. So we got Ranger Suarez on the mound this evening, -115. Logan Gilbert, -105. 8 is our total here. Have to like the Phillies, but, man, question marks with Ranger Suarez. What do you expect from the starter tonight?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. You know, this is the period now where, because Wheeler went down, this is when you have to, you know, see the good Ranger again. It's not going to be incredibly easy. The Mariners have hit the ball a little bit this year, to say the least. Obviously, Cal Raleigh, they got Eugenio Suarez back. You know, it's a good lineup. There's no doubt about it. You look down that lineup, it's really good. Randy Arozarena's having a good year at the plate. Old friend J.P. Crawford up there in Seattle. So, you know, it'll be a tough one. But, you know, I would say the Phillies probably just have the slight advantage tonight just because they're at home. You know, they've played very well at home this year, and I think that should continue tonight for them.
All right, taking on Logan Gilbert, who was a first-round pick back in 2018, 3.34 ERA this evening. And again, lost 4 out of their last 6, 2 out of 3 to Baltimore on the road, 2 out of 3 to the Mets on the road. Had a little bit of a tough trip there to Williamsport, and now in Philadelphia. So that should be a little bit of an advantage for the Fightins here. But as far as Ranger, if we were looking at anything from the standpoint of wagering on a prop or two, what are you willing to go with Ranger Suarez here? Do you think like this is where we're going to see the good Ranger and he's going to get 7 innings, dead taxes, and a quality start? Or is this something that, you know what, maybe Thompson doesn't want to roll the dice and hang with them too long, get the ball to the bullpen and see what happens there?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't really necessarily look at the outs recorded. I think getting another reliever up today, obviously, I think they don't want to push Ranger crazy. I mean, if he has a low pitch count, then he'll stay out there. But yeah, you know, I'm not expecting Ranger to go out and fire 8 tonight. If he did, great, the team could use it. But I would maybe look towards the strikeout number if you can get it at a fairly lower number. But yeah, I mean, you know, I don't think Rob Thompson in an ideal world right now wants to throw Ranger Suarez out there for 8 innings. If he's rolling and he looks really good, then I think he will. But I would probably look towards some sort of strikeout number tonight. The Mariners have been striking out in a pretty good clip recently. So I would maybe look towards that number.
11 earned runs over his last 2 starts. That's not going to get the job done. So
not great.
Need a much better performance this evening. Once again, to update where we're at, because I know a lot of people like to unplug over the weekends, including myself. And right now, Mets trail the Phillies by 5 games in the NL East, 71-53, 66-58. Oh, by the way, a series right around the corner. All right, well, a lot to pay attention to, of course, no matter what. This team is in the running for some good playoff positions. Of course, the division, and hopefully a really, really fun Red October. But, man, just some sour news over the weekend with Zach Wheeler. The show rolls on, though. That's what Luke Arcaini says, and I have to agree with him. And on that one, a lot of teams deal with injuries. All right, with that being said, though, one quick one. You know, Scotty Scheffler again. Like, come on, dude.
Inevitable, dude.
It really is, because he was trailing by, 3 on Saturday morning when we were live at Parks? Yep. And all I was saying was like, dude, like he's going to come out there on Sunday if he can keep it close, and he is going to win the tournament. And odds were telling you that as much. There wasn't a lot of advantage or money to be made on Scotty Scheffler, even when he trailed on Saturday and Sunday. But McIntyre couldn't find the fairway yesterday. Scotty, of course, with the shot of the day, shot of the year, and the show rolls on, man. But just really impressive stuff from Scotty there as they roll on to the final round as far as the PGA Tour playoffs are concerned. But Ryder Cup, where are we at with the Ryder Cup right now, Luke? Who's making your team? We already had the automatic qualifiers. Who else are you adding to the cut here?
Yeah, so obviously the automatic guys came out yesterday. So automatics right now, obviously Scotty, Spawn, obviously, who won the U.S. Open, Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Bryson DeChambeau, Harris English. Those are your locks right now. Next, it gets a little weird.
Oh, yeah.
I think Justin Thomas will find his way into there. Colin Morikawa will probably find his way into there.
Agreed.
But then you get, sort of on the fence there with some guys, some Chris Gotterups, some Ben Griffins. Those are kind of your wild cards right now. But we got a little bit of time. So they are, starting to narrow down their lists. I'm excited. I really wish I could find a way up there somehow to Bethpage. It's going to be an electric weekend up there. But it'll be a good one. I will say that. The U.S. has home soil. But if you want me to be honest, I think the European team is probably more full top to bottom. So it should be a really, really good one this year. It's going to be a rowdy crowd up at Bethpage.
Yeah, I think JT's in. I think Morikawa is going to be in. Ben Griffin, I think, will be in. So that means there's going to be 2 spots for guys like Patrick Cantlay, Chris Gotterup, Cam Young, Maverick McNeely, Sam Burns, and Keegan Bradley, who is still he didn't auto qualify. So excuse me, Keegan's
he didn't auto because he's the captain.
Correct.
So
yeah.
Technically, he can turn captaincy sort of over to an assistant captain and make the decision himself to play if he wants to.
I don't think he's going to though.
That's kind of up to him. I would probably lean towards him not doing that.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, if they need him, if he continues to play really good golf, then he might have to play.
Well, got some good names there, but so do the Europeans, unfortunately, and that's going to be the issue. But right now, DraftKings Sportsbook still showing Team USA minus 145, Europe plus 150 if you want to take a flyer out on those guys. And leave the country while you're at it, too, if you're going to bet on that kid. All right, Luke, we'll be watching tonight, man. Just a tough pill to swallow over the weekend, and not much you can add to it other than we'll hope and remain that the prognosis for all things blood clot is a little bit less than what I was making it out to be. Wheeler's in good spirits, good condition, and this team rallies around him, and maybe who knows, they'll get him back at the end of September or for postseason. We'll see. But that news will come out today, and we're all hopeful for that. And of course, it starts and ends with the person himself. So the father of 4, of course, married man, and then some. Zach Wheeler is a really good dude behind the scenes for everything you hear. So we're pulling for him on that note, man. Serious stuff. Luke, great stuff. We'll continue to read you over at crossingbroad.com. Have fun covering the Mariners, and we'll catch up later this week, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Sean.
There he is, Luke Arcaini on the Gambler Hotline to open up the show. A lot to get to today, and unfortunately, we had to start it with that. Yeah, I was sitting there, and I'm like, blood clot? What? That's not real. And, I'm not even trying to look at stuff when I'm out and about these days. It's just so much madness on the timeline. It's just, literally poison no matter where you turn. And it's just all right. I just want Twitter. Could I just create Twitter for sports? I just want sports. That's all. Updates, injuries, fantasy, spreads, quarterbacks being named, transfers, scores. Did I say scores? Odds. I just want that for sports. That's all. People that are actually journalists that actually go to practice. I just want that. Am I asking for too much? You click on that For You category. That's not for me. That's definitely not for me. What the hell is that for? I don't even know. Straight poison everywhere. Anyways, so Wheeler is pretty much done. Let's just be realistic about it because, we don't have to go too far. Anytime you start talking about blood clots, you think of Wemby and what he just went through at the age of 21, which, oh, by the way, was in his shoulder too as well, which was crazy to read up on that. Chris Bosh had blood clots that I believe he had to retire after he got them, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken. There have been some, not too many players that have dealt with this, but the significant ones are the main names that have popped up out there. It's been essentially that season. That's all you can. It's over. It's done. And it's not something I want to go through. It's not something that I know too many people have gone through, but the players that have popped up on our timeline and, of course, the headlines made the headlines. We know that it has cut their season short. So I'm sure we're on the same boat on this one. Where do the Phils go? And I think Luke is right. You have to approach it from that standpoint inside the clubhouse, next man up. But do they have the horses to do so? Wheeler was second in running as far as NL Cy Young, only behind Paul Skeens. You look at the numbers that he has thrown up since he's been a Philly, including this year. Like that's again, if you listen to the show, right? That's one thing I've always said. Isn't it great to have an ace? Because you know that if you're going through something, a losing streak, or a couple games where your offense hasn't totaled up more than 2 runs in a game, which has happened a few times for Zach Wheeler this year. The fact that he's getting on the mound gives you all the belief in the world that this team is good enough to win that game every 5th day. And now Zach Wheeler could potentially be done for the rest of the season. Sanchez is good. And when he's on, he's had his moments this year where he's just as good as Zach Wheeler. I would say Zach is a little bit more consistent for my money. I'm sure that there's some metrics, some numbers, some categories that you could dig on that you'll tell me, oh, Sanchez has been a little bit more consistent this year. That's fine, but I'll go with Zach Wheeler as my 1. 2 was Christopher Sanchez. So we're just going to bump that up. Where do you go from now? Who's 2 for you? Is there a possibility that they could see a little bit more from Painter? Nola needs to be better. Is that even a possibility that we could start to look at Aaron Nola as the guy that, was last year pretty much for 3/4 of the season? Nola's been a hell of a pitcher and he hasn't got his due. Well, this is definitely a moment in his career that could make a lot of those doubters change their tune, especially after it's all said and done. Hate to talk legacy with Aaron Nola, but he's been here for a little while. Hell, Ruben Amaro drafted him. You go down the list. Like now is the time that Painter, and I would assume Painter got the call. I would assume that they were already on the phone. I would assume that the doctors are pretty much painting the picture that I am right now. I hate to be playing a doctor because I sure as hell am not, but come on, let's just be realistic about it. 3 o'clock or 3:30 on a Monday after getting that news, I highly doubt anybody's trying to be positive about Zach Wheeler at this point in time with the blood clot. But I digress. With that being said, what do you do with the rotation? What do you need to see? What's the hopes right now moving forward when it comes to the starters and whether or not if a playoff series started today, where are you going? Let's get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL Gambler, at Fox PHL Gambler on all things socials. Again, Phillies back at it after throwing up 11 runs yesterday. Let's stay with that. A little bit of a cloudy, overcast sky. There's like a hurricane stirring it up out there in the Atlantic, I guess. I don't know. I was at the beach yesterday for a little bit, and it was pretty windy. It was a beautiful day, but apparently, where did I see that? Wildwood. You can't swim today in Wildwood on the beaches because of the rough crowds. Yeah. No, that's over the week. I kid. The rough waves out there in Wildwood. You can't be swimming today. So I saw that on the timeline. Thanks to Chris O'Connell from Fox 29. Anyway, so we'll see if that wind is ripping out there at Citizens Bank Park. We'll dig a little bit deeper once we get the lineups and, of course, keep our eyes open for all things Zach Wheeler news. Big card in front of us. We got a lot to recap from the weekend. Brew Crew finally cooled off. That streak came to an end yesterday. Who went yard? We'll take a look at some of the award numbers that we're at right now from the weekend that was. And, of course, take a look at some of those big picture questions we were asking last week when it came to the wild card, because now is the time we got to start looking at this and playoff teams on the yes or the no. It's some of my favorite wagers, especially right here, right now. It's tough to sit there and say in April and May on the yes or the no, but now we're down to the end of the season. You can look at the condensed schedule of 40 plus, 30, 38, 39, 40 games left in the regular season. Who's got who on the calendar? So now is the time to fire on the Y or the N. Will they make the playoffs? We will talk a little bit more about that, especially with the New York Mets in mind. Oh, by the way, though, let's talk some football because we did have a preseason week 2 wrapped up yesterday, but we do have a game tonight. Again, Commanders and the Cincinnati Bengals. I just can't pull the trigger on wagering on NFL preseason. Not to say that I ever have, but the way that folks talk about these preseason games, I feel you. I think you can make the case, especially for first quarter, first half, when you know who's getting the start. Both starting quarterbacks will be in the mix tonight, apparently. Joe Burrow, we saw that in week 1 when they ended up losing the game to the Eagles. It steamed up in favor of the Cincinnati Bengals because Joe Burrow was starting with the starters. Yeah, they played really well in that first quarter, but they were gone. Jaden Daniels will be in the mix. A couple packages are being put together for the Commanders. I just think that's really risky. I'll tell you why I believe Jaden Daniels and getting him some PT in NFL preseason game 2 tonight is risky. Something to keep our eyes on there. Some details coming out of DC. And no, I'm not talking about Terry McLaurin, who has yet to practice. It's crazy when you're talking about Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin, and of course Hendrickson, 2 out of the 3 players who are the 2 teams that are playing tonight. So there's your storylines that will be discussed. All 3 of those players have yet to practice. Folks, it's August 18th. You mean to tell me you think Terry McLaurin, if he gets that new contract, is going to slide in week 1 and beat Terry McLaurin last year? Nope. Hendrickson, you mean to tell me he's going to step out there week 1 for the Cincinnati Bengals, signs that new contract, get a couple sacks like he's done these past 2 seasons? I don't believe so. And Micah Parsons, what's going down there in Dallas is just a disaster. But nobody's surprised by that. Micah Parsons, maybe I would say he could probably step out there. He's that freak of an athlete. Maybe I should probably give Hendrickson a little bit more praise as well. But with that being said, I just don't have any expectations early for these 3. If they're not practicing, no contracts, and shame on the Commanders for not getting that done with Terry McLaurin. He's the number 1 guy. You got your quarterback on a rookie deal. Come on. Show some love for the kid. Well, lucky for the Eagles and, of course, us here in the NFC East, they're not. With that being said, we'll talk a little bit more about tonight's game, just focus on some of the numbers there. But I do want to talk about some rookies, some preseason week 2 performances that caught my attention. Oh, by the way, a little Eagles conversation from practice today. Yeah, we'll talk a little more practice as well. But the big nuts and bolts coming up, hour number 2, college football, ladies and gentlemen. We got some starters named today. Oh, yeah. I'm talking Alabama. I'm talking Syracuse. I'm talking Notre Dame. We know are these quarterbacks and who they're – no, actually Notre Dame hasn't announced who their starting quarterback, I believe, is. But 2 out of the 3 coming up. We'll get into that in the 4 o'clock hour. A lot to discuss because I'll tell you what, college football front and center for us. It doesn't get any bigger and better than this. We're going to be all over it for you right here on The Gambler, so don't touch that dial. Other side, NFL preseason – week 2 with some rookie look-aheads, and we won't really touch too much as far as NFL preseason week 3. No, we're not going to get into much of that, but a lot to discuss from the weekend that was. Don't go in, we're going to take it after this.
From Tuscaloosa to the Big House, Saturdays start here.
Howard flips it, Smith's got it, and the freshman just waltzes in as the Buckeyes score.
Your home for all things college football coverage. It's The Gambler. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We're backed up on 95 northbound Girard up to Bridge, southbound heavy from Bridge to the Betsy Ross and Ridley Park to 320. Westbound Schuylkill Jan, University to Girard and Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound, stop and go approaching Montgomery Drive to south. All right, to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Hear that? That's what having fewer hot flashes and night sweats can sound like. Veoza is the #1 prescribed hormone-free treatment FDA approved for moderate to severe vasomotor symptoms, also known as hot flashes and night sweats due to menopause. Veoza can cause serious side effects, including liver problems. Your doctor will do blood tests before and during treatment. Stop Veoza and call your doctor if you have symptoms of liver problems, such as feeling more tired than usual, decreased appetite, nausea, vomiting, itching, yellowing of the eyes or skin, pale stool, dark urine, or stomach pain. Don't use Veoza if you have cirrhosis, severe kidney problems, kidney failure, or take CYP1A2 inhibitors. Ask your doctor about Veoza. To learn more, call 1-866-239-1637 or go to Veoza.com. That's VEOZAH.com.
Looking for sun protection that actually works and feels great? Wear SPF by PGA Pro Justin Thomas has you covered, both on and off the course. Dermatologist tested and sweat resistant. It's broad spectrum SPF that won't mess up your swing or your skin. From the first tee to everyday life, Wear SPF is a high-performance skincare collection that helps you protect yourself like the pros. It's par for the course. Shop now at wearspf.com and stay sun-safe all year long. That's wearspf.com.
iHeart presents the Big Three Championship next Sunday, August 24th. The remaining two teams fight it out for the Big Three Championship Dr. J Trophy in the most physical, fierce, and competitive basketball league in the world. The action starts with the Big Three 8th Annual All-Star Game. The no-holds-barred action starts Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific, only on CBS.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at tmobile.com.
Live radio, trusted DJs, breaking news, live play-by-play, endless music, and podcasts just for you. It's the free iHeartRadio app. Radio your way. Join the millions who already have it. Download the free iHeartRadio app, the #1 app for radio.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit Pfizerforall.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You took the elevator to the 48th floor and handed him the briefing. Your fingertips touched, sending a shockwave of desire through the air. The room pulsed with a silent craving as he drew you in with his smoldering gaze before uttering the words your body ached to hear.
The next train on track 2 is delayed.
And all the while, you were on your commute home. There's more to imagine when you listen. Discover romance titles on Audible.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No. Call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Hey, Villanova fans, be sure to catch the Cats down the shore. Villanova football's coming to Ocean City, New Jersey on Tuesday, August the 19th. Watch an open practice and scrimmage at Ocean City High School at 11 a.m. Then meet the team at Music Pier at 1:30 p.m. for some photos and autographs. Free admission. Don't miss the Cats at Ocean City, New Jersey. Go Nova. Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow, we're taking a show on the road. We will be down at Ocean City Pier. Hurricane or not, I kid. It looks like everything is clear down there. But we'll be rocking out with Villanova football season right around the corner. Of course, catch all the action right here on The Gambler for all things Villanova football and basketball. Big season for both programs. And tomorrow we will be live at Ocean City, New Jersey at the Pier. And there's that high school down there. Beautiful track, beautiful football field. And, of course, afterwards, a great time. You can catch the show normal time at 3 o'clock. I'm going to be down there running around like a maniac, getting a bunch of interviews. Coach Mark Ferrante on. Sean Barnard, Sam Oshtry are going to join me. So, of course, we'll talk some Phillies. We'll mix in a nice show. But all in all, it's going to be all around Villanova football. And, oh, by the way, with their Week 3 trip to Penn State, we will be taking the show on the road. I'll be broadcasting live from Penn State. Field Tavern, or Field Burger. Why am I getting that wrong now? I apologize. I should get the name. For Field Burger and Tap. That's what it is at Penn State. We'll be out there from 3 to 6. We're going to have some tickets to give away, all that and more. And then broadcasting live from Saturday afternoon, taking you right up to kickoff between Penn State and Villanova. So a lot of Villanova conversation coming our way on all things football and basketball this year. And can't thank those guys and girls enough for allowing us to team up. And we've had a great partnership over the years, and we're raising things up even more this year. Going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. Can't wait. Hopefully we get some sunshine, no rain, no wind. And let's keep the temperature around 80, 85. That's all right. We got the nice iHeart tent, so we'll be good to go. All right, let's talk some football over to the big boys. Let's talk about the NFL. Because, look, at this point in time, isn't it interesting? Because I think, we have gone through a few ruts when it comes to preseason where it doesn't mean anything and they're not playing anybody. And I still feel like teams are approaching that. Some are definitely doing it much different. And you saw last week with all the overs, 14-2 to the over. And I think it did go over this week. And I have to look those numbers up, but not exactly much. And the dogs were biting, but not exactly in the 12-4 manner they were in week 1. So we kind of knew that it would be back to a little bit more as business as usual. However, some of the coaches and the way that they're going about playing these rookies, playing their quarterbacks, really intriguing. And I think we're starting to see a little bit more. And it's one of those deals where it is beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? I'll give you a perfect example. So I watched Shedeur Sanders and I was one of the 2 million people in that Carolina Panthers start. I watched Dylan Gabriel in his week 2 start against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I watched Jackson Dart play yesterday as well, or with the Giants. I ended up catching it, the video late last night. So I would say, and like I know going into it, you are getting the most vanilla defense. You are potentially missing some starters on that side of the ball. Oh, no. Like, we understand. If you've watched football, if you're a fan of football, if you're actually caring what's coming out of your mouth, then we don't need to get into those caveats. Like, it's the realization of preseason week 1, week 2, and week 3 for that matter. But week 2, a little bit more, or week 1, a little bit more than week 2, right? Where less is more from the defense. Let's just get out of here, make the tackles, and all in all, just get out of there without any injuries. I came away impressed with Shedeur Sanders. I did. And my expectations were maybe not as what he showed. I didn't think he'd be a complete flaw out there or a dud. He would have some flaws, but I came away impressed with his performance against Carolina Panthers. Jackson Dart now has played in 2 games for the New York Giants. I've come away impressed with Jackson Dart's performance. Dylan Gabriel, and I get it. I got the numbers in front of me. I didn't really come away impressed. I don't know if it was something along the lines of like it's going up against the Eagles and you know who they're missing, and maybe that played into it just a little bit. But I did not come away impressed with Dylan Gabriel's ball in the air. Let me go ahead and make that a little bit better. He did throw for 143. He was 13 of 18. He took 2 sacks, and he did have the pick 6. But his ball in flight was wobbly, wasn't tight. And, yeah, I get it. You know, some great quarterbacks, Peyton Manning never threw a spiral. I get it. He's not Peyton Manning. It's Dylan Gabriel. All 5'11" of them, if that. And like I said, going up against the Eagles secondary and, of course, missing those guys on the front might have played into it just a little bit. But just calling it as I see it, not trying to get too proficient and breaking down preseason film, just watching it for the first time. I just said, okay, Dylan Gabriel made some throws. And you know what? I have no issues with them drafting him and seeing if they could find not a needle in the haystack, but trying to get a somewhat good quarterback that could back up whoever it is, or potentially trade bait, or could potentially turn into a starter. There's a lot of players out there in the NFL that we never thought would be starting quarterbacks. There's a lot of guys with expectations that have gone away and then come back, and next thing they're playing well. When they give them those opportunities, you just never know what you're going to get. And with the number one position in sports, I am fine with rolling the dice and seeing what you can get with a guy like Dylan Gabriel. Wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a fan of Bo Nix either, though, at college. And Bo Nix has proven me wrong so far. We'll see what happens in year 2, but I think he's in a good spot up there in Denver. With that being said, staying with what we just watched over the weekend, I think Shedeur Sanders came away really impressive, but I'm willing to sit there and say that was probably about as vanilla is going to get as far as defense is concerned. Jackson Dart, what they're throwing at him from the offense with Dable, it seems, and I did hear this, so I will definitely regurgitate it and not make it my own, but that they went out there and took a couple plays from Ole Miss that he was comfortable with, and that's what I saw a little bit too as well. They were spreading them out quick on the ball, and it did give you those Ole Miss vibes. And I was like, all right, but man, the way he has handled it, he's got pinpoint accuracy. He's putting the ball on the money. He's going through progressions, making his reads. He's getting rid of the football when he needs to. I think the Giants might have actually scored with Jackson Dart. Again, 2 preseason games in. So let's not get too crazy here. But if you want to sit here and say, like, going back to the draft, there were people out there that were high on Jackson Dart, but I think, to a man, I would say probably majority of the people would say Jackson Dart's not going to do anything with the New York Giants. Man, I'll tell you, just the way that he looks out there on the field, the control, the calmness, as I said, the accuracy, that's all that matters is how you're playing once the ball is snapped. He looks really good out there for the Giants. And doesn't seem like he's going to be the starter. It seems like they're going to go with Russell, who, oh, by the way, hasn't played that bad either. I just don't think Russell Wilson is a guy. I'm pretty sure we know what you're going to get with Russell. That's all. I understand it, though, but in Dable's spot, he's got to win games. He got that defense. Why not go with the young gun eventually? But week 1, we know that Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback. But from those 3, I easily came away more impressed with Jackson Dart than all 3 of them or the other 2. And I would just say, again, long way to go. 2 preseason games in. Nothing that I'm going to sit here and say, well, he's going to be, rookie of the year. I would not say that. But Jackson Dart, 14 of 16, 137, a touchdown. He's picking it up with his legs, not afraid to take contact. He needs to get that out of his game. And doing it with everything going into that season. You go out there and you're bringing all those quarterbacks. Kid's proven something right now. He's got a little bit of that, what it takes to perform at that position in that city. So something to keep our eyes on here in Philadelphia. Again, it's preseason ball. I'm not even going to spend a minute talking about preseason game 3 against the Jets coming up this weekend, where the Eagles are a 0.5 point underdog. But we did see at practice today, we're talking about practice. So I always go to my guy, Tim McManus, who's been doing a great job forever and ever and ever covering all things Eagles. I would just say that it is intriguing that Ringo was supposed to be getting, snaps with the 1. He looked pretty good for a lot of people out there. I did see him on my timeline getting a lot of praise, and then he steps out in the field and it still looked ugly in game 2. It's just like, really? He's so flat-footed, upright. There wasn't much for me to like. And again, I'm not at camp. I'm not down there breaking down the film. But you do have some other players out there that could slide in and get those reps. Eagles camp day notes today, day 16, a notable change. Did not see Ringo receive any first-team reps. Jackson got the bulk of work with Cooper DeJean moving to the outside and base looks. Fangio said the competition for CB2 will go through the 3rd preseason game. So that is good news that at least the Eagles are active and we're all seeing the same thing. See what happens. And I also said that, Ringo's, you put that film out there in preseason game 1, you expected to see a little bit better in game 2. It was just a weird game, a tough game. I didn't think anybody played all that well, if I'm honest with you. But I think we're all on the same page, the way we are viewing it as far as on the timeline is concerned with the Eagles' upcoming season. Long way to go, though, but right around the corner, taking on the Cowboys. So, looking forward to it, that's for sure. All right, from the NFL, again, some news and notes that we'll get into throughout the course of this show. Coming up at 5 o'clock, you'll get some more NFL discussion with Sam Oshtry and Sean Barnard. But on the other side, let's talk some college. Yeah, baby. We got some football action going on this weekend. Folks, we have made it. College football kicks off in a big way on Saturday. Farmageddon between Iowa State and Kansas State, two really good quarterbacks. One team a little bit better when it comes to beef up front. We're going to be breaking this game down and the other 4 games as well, 5 total all weekend long. Even Sam Houston State and Western Kentucky's getting some shine, getting some run this week on the airwaves. But from those 5 games, we'll be all over them. I'm recording with Beef on Wednesday night. Tansy, myself, Beef, and Mark Henry Jr. back in class. We're going to give our predictions, go through the conferences. We got a lot of college football coming your way. No one's going to cover it in this city like we are right here on The Gambler. Farmageddon gets the party started on Saturday. A little bit of line movement a couple weeks ago, up to 4, holding steady at 3. Kansas State Wildcats are favored. I'll give you the big reason why I believe they are and why I believe they're to play on the other side. It's the Daily Ticket. College football starts this weekend. Let's go. Hey, Sean Brace here. Make the most of your summer without stressing your budget. Use the Zip app. With Zip, you can make more happen this summer, from front row to baseball game to last-minute grocery runs for that barbecue. Zip lets you comfortably pay overtime with the flexible payment schedule. You can use Zip online and in store, almost anywhere Visa is accepted. Just download a Zip app today. Loans through Zip Pay anywhere and Zip Web Checkout, including any Power by Zip loans, are originated by WebBank.
iHeart presents the Big 3 Championship next Sunday, August 24th. The remaining 2 teams fight it out for the Big 3 Championship, Dr. J Trophy, in the most physical, fierce, and competitive basketball league in the world. The action starts with the Big 3 8th Annual All-Star Game, featuring All-Stars Dwight Howard, Montrezl Harrell, MVP Michael Beasley, Lance Will Make You Dan Stevenson, Jordan Crawford, Greg Monroe, Earl Clark, Nazir Kaur, and more. Show you why they are the best 3-on-3 basketball players in the world. Big 3's exciting All-Star Game, plus the crowning of a new Big 3 champion. The no-holds-barred action starts Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific, only on CBS.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
David Goodstadt, founder and CEO of Ballers.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big 3 this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big 3. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice. Yay!
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
This is Doug Gottlieb. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz.
New Eagles wide receiver John Mechie III joined the team for practice today after he was acquired from Houston last night. Over to baseball, and Phillies right-hander Zach Wheeler is on the shelf. He's got a blood clot that was discovered after his outing Friday. Phillies will host Seattle. That's tonight. And Dodger star Shohei Ohtani's 300th career home run ball fetched more than $44,000 at auction over the weekend. I'm Scott Davidson.
Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Find it behind the wheel of a Mercedes-Benz SUV. Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of an iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer today.
We all remember that one teacher who made a difference. Now's your chance to say thank you in a big way. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate an outstanding teacher in your life to be among the winners of $5,000 to stock their classroom at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
You can't be stopped with Unstoppable's laundry scent boosters because they give your clothes 24-hour nonstop freshness. So even on your longest nonstop days, you'll be confident in smelling fresh all day long. Try now for as low as $5 and smell unstoppable.
It's the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, 3 to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
You know, look, I'm a realist when it comes to the Phillies winning the World Series. Now, they got a great shot, and it starts and ends with the pitching. But those odds skyrocket, in my opinion, if they get more run support, specifically from a guy named Nick Castellanos. Yes, he's a fan favorite and a great clubhouse presence, but right now, he stinks. Point blank, over his last 30 games, he struck out 31 times and is hitting below the Mendoza line. That's not going to cut it. Casty has to produce, or Rob Thompson needs to get creative. After pulling the right strings at the deadline, you can't relax and keep running him out there just because of his name. At this point, almost any other bat would be an upgrade over what Castellanos has given them. I don't believe Castellanos is going to change what we have seen all season long, specifically as of late. So come September, there needs to be other players in right field.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it right here on The Gambler.
My station, baby.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Which end up on the Schuylkill westbound, approaching University to Girard and Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound, stop and go approaching Montgomery Drive to South. Vine Expressway busy both ways, Schuylkill to Broad. 95 northbound, Jan Girard up the bridge. Southbound, backed up bridge to Betsy Ross. Fire to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
You work hard to provide for yourself and your family, and that's why identity theft is so scary. Not only does it pose a threat to your financial well-being, everything you've worked so hard for, but it's also a danger to your family. Even children can be victims. It's not their money thieves go after, obviously, but their social security number. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Act now and save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
You know that thing called AI? Supposed to make the workplace super efficient? Well, there's something better. DI, Delicious Intelligence. It's tech that helps make work efficient and yummy. Leading the DI revolution, EasyCater, a workplace food platform that connects you to tons of favorite restaurants with tools to save time and stay on budget. Need tacos for 20? Falafel for 40? A variety of vegan breakfast sandwiches? Now that's a tasty prompt. Join the DI revolution. Order now at easycater.com.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Recently on an episode of the Fud Around and Find Out podcast with AZ Fudd, we were joined by Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann, the Stud Buds, for a conversation that goes from viral moments to downright chaos.
Courtney, you picked me up at All-Star. Do you remember that?
Stop it. I was picking people up, but I do remember picking you up, for sure. I picked you up in a different way, AZ, than I was picking the other baddies up. You feel me?
To hear this and more, open your free iHeartRadio app. Search Fud Around and Find Out with AZ Fudd and listen now.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Go College football is officially back. Let's go. All those offseason debates, the endless preseason rankings, transfer portal madness, all of it gets left behind once that first whistle blows in Ireland. From coast to coast, Saturdays. Yeah, they're back to meaning a little something more. Packed stadiums, marching bands. This is where legends are made. From Happy Valley under the lights to between the hedges in Georgia. Every corner of the country, 18 to 22-year-olds and more, that carry the weight of entire towns, states, fan bases on their shoulders. Let's go. We have made it. What a long off season it was. You can only read Phil Steele's magazine so many times. It's time to kick off. And let's let the chips fall where they may. And we'll find out who's going to win it all yet again. We're going to be all over it for you here on The Gambler, week by week, day by day. My wife said to me the other day, she said, they don't play football on Wednesday, did they? I said, well, what time of year? They do eventually. If it's a day of the week, chances are there's a college football game, and especially over these next 2 weeks. Oh, man. That following week, that Thursday to Monday slate. Oh, and thank you. Hat tip to the NFL for saying, you know what, college? You could take that. It's your time to shine. It's your window of opportunity. We'll take the rest of the year. But college football, you know what to do. And it's finally here. And I'm excited, as you can tell. We're going to be all over it and then some. Trying to find those winning plays. We're going to be doing rankings, power rankings. We are going to give our overall future projections this week. Heisman Trophy plays. We did draft the national championship. If you missed that, that's a recent episode at foxphlgambler.com that you can find. All things on the daily ticket. So a lot to get to when it comes to the world of college football. With that being said, let's fire up DraftKings Sportsbook and take a look at the 5 games we do have going off this Saturday. And it is intriguing with the Stanford and Hawaii game being as early as it is. It's my only pushback. It's like, you know, you can give us that game, that Stanford-Hawaii game, after the Sam Houston-Western Kentucky kick. You can play that Stanford-Hawaii game normally, 10 o'clock on the East Coast? That would be nice. 7:30 kick, so we're not going to get too weird on Saturday. We're only going to chase so much. Matter of fact, I have a fantasy draft, so I'm going to be all over these games. Can't wait. But we get the party started with Iowa State and Kansas State. And, you know, the Big 12 season opener getting started in Ireland. I don't know if that moves the needle for so many people out there. But how about a top 25 matchup? Kansas State 20, Iowa State 21. That's pretty cool. And in a conference that I don't think anybody really has, you know, a lockdown. Let me go ahead and pull up those odds as far as the futures are concerned with the Big 12 conference. I don't remember too many people telling me that, you know, X team is going to win it, whether it is Texas Tech. Actually, they did get a lot of pub this offseason with all the money that they spent in the transfer portal. But your favorite is Kansas State at plus 550. Arizona State, to continue to have success that they built up last year, at plus 550 as well. But then you go into Texas Tech and Utah at 6-1, Baylor at plus 700, TCU at plus 850, Iowa State at 11-1. So there we go. Kansas State with a lot of fanfare, a lot of build-up, a lot of hype going into this game. Could that work against them? Maybe, maybe not. I would highly doubt that that's probably playing into their minds because of the what took place last year. Oh, by the way, if you do want to go down that path, Kansas State lost to Iowa State last year, so maybe this is a revenge game. Like, I don't think any of that matters. I just, like we saw last year, right, with Florida State and Georgia Tech, and I just watched that game on the whatever channel it was on ESPN. I was just watching it. Joe Tessitore had the juices going. I was getting fired up. it was the better team. Georgia Tech was the better team out there. It had nothing to do with anything that took place the year before. It just had to do with who's on the roster and how well they played that day out there in Ireland. And I think that's how it's going to play out here. The one thing that I will say, and I'm not going to sit here and believe or make you believe that I am a Kansas State Wildcat aficionado and I'm on the boards and I know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to, the backup left tackle. The Kansas State offensive line hit the transfer portal hard, and defensive line, again, they're big. So this is a team that if you believe you can't win without beef up front, something that we subscribe to here, it's a team that you should believe in. Let's put it that way. But Iowa State, coming into what they were able to do last year, again, had some success, ended up losing that late game to Arizona State, if I'm not mistaken there. Was good as far as against the pass last year. Not so much against the run. So this is something to keep our eyes on here. It's a 3-point spread going off on Saturday out there in Dublin. And I would just say that I will probably bite and take the favorite on this one with Kansas State. Was watching some programs yesterday, and they feel like that there won't be line movement in favor of Kansas State. If anything, this is going to go up. And it's where it started. Essentially, it was a 4-point spread. Iowa State was catching 4. So they might dangle that back out there, but again, no game action. So this is some things that people will be trying to make happen that obviously will move these numbers that could wager a significant amount. But all in all, at this point in time, it's a 3-point spread. And I think we'll hang there 3. 49.5 is our total in this one. I believe I've heard some people in this station say that like the under in that one. I don't know. If you're going to get any defense played, it should stay under, but no defense out there in a week 0 spot. Again, all eyes on both of these programs. Maybe you raise it up just a notch. It could get to 40. It could get to 50. I could see that actually. As far as the totals are concerned, in all 5-3 of the matchups, it's the lowest number on the board. And it's probably, let me go ahead and pull that one up too, as far as line movement on the total. I would assume that number has been bet down. So it might not be the right time to take the under here. But again, we're focusing on the spread. I like Kansas State. I think Kansas State's going to get out there and get that victory in that week 0 matchup. Both good quarterbacks. There is a little bit more of returning as far as coaching staff is concerned on Kansas State. Offensive coordinator returning, so it's a little bit something there with the quarterback. Something that he can go back on. But all in all, again, week 0, game 1, got to have a play on it. We're rolling with Kansas State. Let me know if you got a play or two on that one. Love to hear your thoughts. I know that Nick McClay is rolling over in his chair as he is a big Cyclone backer. Keeping it moving, though, again, you want to find the reasons other than the fact that it is college football back in our lives. How about Dan Mullen as the head coach of UNLV? Full disclosure, I can't tell you a damn thing about Idaho State, who's catching 23.5 against UNLV. But the running Rebs, 64.5 is our total. I like Dan Mullen. I always thought he was a good coach. In this spot, I think they're going to hit the gas pedal. Of course, there's some lights, there's some flair. They want some substance with that program out there in Las Vegas. I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to show out in game 1 for UNLV. And I know that he's been, pounding the pavement pretty good out there in Las Vegas. Again, it seems like it's going to be a big time competition for years to come with some of the professional franchises. But right now, what do you have? Of course, you got the Aces who do really well at home. And of course, the hockey, the Golden Knights. But all in all, nobody that's playing right now. Raiders will be coming up here, but Dan Mullen wants to be the number 1 talk about sports team in that city. Will that happen? I don't know. I don't do sports talk radio in Las Vegas, but to go ahead and get that week 0 win over Idaho State, and especially winning by 30 plus or 25 or 29, whatever it is, just covered the 23.5. That's the way to do it. Again, that game is going off at 4:00. Fresno State and Kansas, they're going off at 6:30. Kansas has a brand new stadium, I want to say, is what they got going on right now. So they won't be having to deal with any of those issues that they were dealing with. Was it just an upgrade, I would assume? I don't think it's a brand new stadium, is it? David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium. Damn, is that a brand new stadium? Oh, transformational changes to David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium football complex or any areas directly impact the football growth. Okay, so yeah. It's not a brand new stadium, but damn, that is really nice. Yeah, so this is some of the things that they're putting into play here, especially to get some of the players to believe and, of course, go play there. Completely one-dimensional over the years. And, there hasn't been too many times that Kansas Jayhawks have had successful football teams. But all in all, game one going off on Saturday against Fresno State, where they're 12.5-point home favorites, 50.5. So that is the big push there, the home crowd in the new digs, and they'll eventually get the number. But, like I said, I can't sit here and tell you that I'm going to take Kansas, especially laying that number at 12.5. But that is the number right now. 50.5 is our number on DraftKings Sportsbook, 6:30 p.m. Then we go to 7 o'clock, Sam Houston and Western Kentucky. Oh, yeah. This is where the Conference USA campaign gets going here. Sam Houston and Western Kentucky. Once again, that game is at 7 o'clock. You were looking at a 10-point spread. 60.5 is our total in that one. Again, the Hilltoppers is about as far as I'll go on that one. We'll be breaking that one down with some people that can shine the light on the X's and O's a little bit more. Double-digit spread, though, in week one. That's a big number for Western Kentucky to cover there at 7 p.m. We'll see what happens on that one. And then at 7:30, we close up shop with Stanford and Hawaii, 2.5. This one was a crazy number because this is one that Julian Edlow has been pushing for the last 2 weeks here on the Gambler. 2.5-point spread, Hawaii favorite at this point in time, 52.5. Let me pull up that number because I know we've had some movement as far as this game is concerned. And I remember him saying 2 weeks ago that essentially it was too late to hop on that number. Still, though, it is a game that will see significant action, significant play because it is Hawaii a little bit later, but not too late, as I said, with it going off at 7:30 p.m. here. 2-point spread, line moves here according to covers. That was Stanford opened up as a 2.5-point favorite. They are now catching 2.5. So that is the significant line movement that Julian was pointing out. And I would say, yes, that is true. It's tough, Hawaii, to go out there and play Hawaii on the islands. Everything that Stanford has been through. Frank Reich is the head coach. They brought him in to just steady the boat this offseason. Andrew Luck is the general manager / president, I forget, of football operations. I forget his exact title, but he's going to be able to put it together, but it just didn't seem like it was happening all in all this offseason. So that's why there was a big push for Hawaii there, and the number flipped all the way over to 2.5. Hawaii favor. 52.5 is our total in that one. That game is getting started once again at 7:30 on Saturday. I guess Hawaii would be the play. Even at 2.5, I remember Julian say that he would take it up to 3. So that's something that you can go ahead and take a flyer on if you want to get action on it right now. But all in all, I don't expect these numbers to move. It could potentially the day of because you will see some action there. But all in all, I just think that these numbers have been holding steady for as long as they have. And if people wanted to get action on it, they would have already. We'll see what happens, though. Again, 2.5, Hawaii favored as far as that one is concerned. The following week, we got an unbelievable slate of games from Thursday to Monday. I'm talking Thursday night, a game that no one is discussing is East Carolina and NC State. I can't wait for that game. But there are some other good games in there as far as games to place wager on. Boise State, South Florida, of course. And then into Saturday or Friday. Friday, we got some good games. Georgia Tech and Colorado is the big one for my money. Georgia Tech, that number has come down. We're now down to 4. Favored on the road in Colorado. A lot of people would be liking the fact that you can get Dion and his club as 4-point dogs. I would just hold up on that one because I just think It's a tall drop off from who was playing quarterback and who was out there making plays at the wide receiver position to what they have right now. And oh, by the way, Georgia Tech with somewhat expectation, somewhat. Not going to sit here and say that they're a player for the ACC, but they're definitely a team that if you're not ready to go, they will beat you. And I would expect that they're going to give an A+ effort up there in Colorado to open up the season as 4-point favorites. I think the odds makers are telling you everything you need to know about that one. Auburn and Baylor, that's a game that's getting slept on. Not a lot of conversation going off about that one at 8 p.m., 2.5-point spread for Auburn there. UNLV taking on Sam Houston. So therefore you could watch week 0 and apply that to Friday Night Lights the following week there. Right now, UNLV, a monster, 12.5-point road favorite, 58.5 is our total in that one. Texas and Ohio State, that gets the party started on Saturday. Ohio State, 2.5-point favorites, 47.5 now. That number has dropped, so money coming in on Texas. They were 3-point dogs. Money coming in on Texas drops it down to 2.5 now. I just feel like Ohio State is the play. I'm saying Ohio State is the play. I will be taking Ohio State in that one. A lot of great games. And of course, as I said 100 times already, we will be all over it for you here on The Gambler. All right. Now, with that, Julian Sayin was announced the starting quarterback for Ohio State. And I believe we've had a number of quarterbacks that were announced to take on the reins as the starter for this upcoming 2 weeks. And that's when everybody will get going here. But Julian Sayin, news to me because I pay attention to a little bit on the offseason. But all in all, he was originally recruited to go to Alabama, left because Saban, of course, retired. So he ends up at Ohio State. And the only other quarterback as far as that was recruited in front of him that had a higher ranking was DJ Lagway, who has been a tremendous talent with Florida, a little bit injury prone, but he has been the guy that you've looked to go, man, he was the number 1 ranked dude as far as that class is concerned. Sayin at the quarterback position was number 2, right behind him. So I just look at what Ohio State has at the wide receiver position, specifically my guy, Jeremiah Smith. I love Ohio State on that Saturday. I think that is a tough spot for Arch and that offense. It's pretty, not dinged up, but had to lose a couple players and on defense as well to the NFL. I think it's going to be a tough spot for Texas to go in. Home cooking is going to be absolutely rowdy out there at Ohio State for a noon kickoff. Not going to sit here and say that I think this could get ugly, but man, if Arch is not superhuman, I don't think that this is going to be a relatively close game. How about that? Oh no, it just came down. They just added Temple UMass, so it bumped my game there at 3:30. Very odd why that happened. Anyways, so I'm looking at Sayin and that offense continuing to thrive. I know that they have lost a couple pieces, and Chip Kelly on the offensive coordinator position, no doubt. There's some question marks when it comes to Ohio State, but in that week 1 spot in the big game, the biggest game all weekend long, that's Texas and Ohio State. I would say Alabama and Georgia, which is at the end of September, is the only one that's comparable for my money about just bringing it up and just hear these two teams in this matchup make the case that this is about as big as it gets. Yeah, it's a pretty easy one for Texas and Ohio State. Odds on favorite 1 and 2 to win the national championship preseason, of course. Maybe you could throw Penn State in the mix with all the hype that they have right now, but there's still a lot of doubters when it comes to the folks over there at Happy Valley. Got to show me what you got. And even if James Franklin and Penn State were able to win a week 1 matchup, whether it was at Texas or Ohio State, in 10 weeks, 11 weeks, whatever it is down the road, people are saying, well, if they played that game now, Ohio State would be better or Texas would be better. So we'll see. But give me Texas and Ohio State to open this bad boy up, and that's going to be an incredible matchup. Can't wait. Saturday at noon, 2.5-point spread, 47.5. That one continues to come down. A lot of people were talking about the under in that one. I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying not to get too caught up as far as these numbers are concerned when it comes to totals. There's a lot to learn about every one of these defenses, every one of these offenses, every one of these units, these coaching staffs. Sure, a lot of the teams with the expectations do pan out. It's what I'm looking at in Clemson with the ACC this year, sure. But we don't really have that many flukes or teams when it comes to surprises. But this does feel like it's a little bit of an open-ended season right now. Like you can make the case for your team. You could say that the SEC is going to hold it down and Georgia will be there, or Bama. You could talk about some of the quarterbacks that are great in college football and make the case for those teams. But I just feel like we're hearing a lot of teams being discussed when it comes to winning a national championship. How many teams? Relatively, there's probably 6, 7, 8 teams that you can make the case for, and probably we'll cut that in half after 3 to 4 weeks of play. But all in all, right now, why do that? Everybody's 0-0, 0-0 heading into week 0. And what fun would that be? Anyways, a couple wagers that I made over the weekend. Fun one, Georgia Tech took the over as far as their win totals are concerned. Just went down the schedule, 7.5. Like what I'm seeing with Haynes King. Of course, the program, a little bit of expectations, mix that in. Saw a couple winnable games. And if they go out to Colorado and get that victory, game on. And then also had some fun, LSU. I'm a Brian Kelly guy. I am. I know that it comes off a little fraudulent, a little fluky for some. My family, I would say, you got to do what you got to do when you're recruiting. You can't go down to the bayou of Louisiana spitting like you're some Yankee coming off of Broad Street. You can't do that. You're not going to get, the parents to sign off on the piece of paper. But you can tweak your twang a little bit, right? Mix in a story or two about how your pappy used to visit down here in the summertime. Oh, we've been to New Orleans a lot. I love me some crawfish. With that being said, you got to do what you got to do to get the player. And Brian Kelly has gotten the players over the years. What happened last year? Defense was terrible. It's terrible. So put it together. If they can get some defense played, and you look at the schedule. This is one of the reasons why I was saying this last night. Is when you look at the SEC schedule, name the team that has an easy break when it comes to competition. Name the team that has a couple weeks off, that plays in the SEC. There's very few, if any, that you can point to going, this team has a much more drastic of an easier path to getting to the playoffs versus this team. Is there a team? I'm sure that you could find one. But when we're talking about the teams with expectations to win the conference, whether it's an Alabama, whether it's the LSU, when you're talking about teams that have the expectations to win the conference, I just feel like they all have difficult schedules. And if you're going to win those games, then of course you're going to have an opportunity to playing for more. Texas, of course, they're favored to win it. Georgia, no doubt. And I'm looking at LSU, and why not? I think that there's some games that they're going to be tight, but I'm going to say that they win those games right now. And pulling up their schedule, like I said, they open up against Clemson. That's not going to be easy, but Brian Kelly has been talking about week 1, one game, 1-0 for months. We'll see if he's able to apply that. And of course, they got, on my money, the better quarterback, a little bit better on the offensive side. Clemson's no slouch. That's probably going to be just as good a game as any game we're going to see over these next 2 weeks. I look at LSU against Florida. I got them winning that game. I got LSU against Ole Miss. Got them winning that game. South Carolina. Got them winning that game. They got a game against A&M. Not going to be easy. They go Bama. Not going to be easy. They close up shop against Arkansas, Western Kentucky, and Oklahoma. Got them winning those games. And if you are a national championship contender, you do win those games, right? Brian Kelly is a damn good coach. If they can get any help on the defensive side of the ball, I like LSU to do some big things. It's the SEC. You got to have a pick. You got to have a play. I'm not taking Texas. I think it's easy to say Kirby Smart in Georgia right now. Bama is definitely, it has my heart. I feel like Kellen DeBoer is getting a little bit of disrespect. He's got to prove it, though. He's got to prove it. What he did at Washington is not Alabama. It's not. But I feel like if you're going to bring up last year and everything that he had to go through to replace Nick Saban, and say that, you know what, would they go 9-4 last year, albeit being disappointed, especially the way it ended. But if you're not going to tell me that that was a successful season or a good stepping stone, I'm going to say you're crazy. That was an impossible situation to step in and have success. Impossible. People, I saw somebody on a college football show go, who are they? You know, like, I know what I was getting for Nick Saban. What am I getting for Kellen DeBoer? What type of program is he running down there now? Well, can you give the guy an opportunity? Let's learn. Let's figure it out. It's not going to go ahead and have that implemented day one. How many players left? You just talked about Julian Sayin going to Ohio State. He was a quarterback, the number 2 ranked quarterback when it comes to players coming out of high school. He was going to Bama. He leaves. I'm sure DeBoer had some players come there because they knew he was coming. And, of course, the players that were going to Washington. But, no, that's not easy. Oh, yeah, I'm going to Alabama. We're going to the heart of the SEC. We're going to compete with the best of the best. And, oh, by the way, the expectations are for me to win a national championship, which they were. They were. It's Alabama. That's every year. I highly doubt anybody who's calling up Paul Feinbaum going, you know what? I'm okay if he loses 2 to 3 games this year. But give the guy an opportunity. They have an unbelievable wide receiver core. Defensively is where they were hurting last year, but you know darn well what they're able to get. It's Alabama. Offensive line. Apparently they're going to have they have the number 1 left tackle that's going to be drafted in the NFL draft, I believe, next year. Yeah. So Alabama is in there. I will tell you, Texas A&M, good quarterback returning, so that's definitely something to keep your eye on. Ole Miss, always sneaky. Need to learn a little bit more about Ole Miss before I start bloviating there. Can't get down with Florida. Can't get down with South Carolina. Can't get down with Oklahoma and Tennessee. Come on. They just made the UCLA starting quarterback that transferred their starter this year. A little flip-flop there. Good luck on that one. Anyways, it's fun to be talking some college football, and just about a few days, we'll be talking about actual box scores. We'll be talking about playing on the field, and that is what it's all about. With that being said, I do want to wrap up because I already gave it to you as far as my award for the Heisman Trophy. And I think when you start to believe as far as how the voters are going to view this, and I know they're going to get caught up in the flash. So if Arch Manning does have a great season and is able to lead this team to have victories, and this is a team that goes up to Ohio State, comes away at that week 1, I won't argue with you taking Arch Manning plus 650 because it's already there for the voters to view. So Manning, the difficult circumstances, staying in college, going to Texas, backing up Quinn Ewers, like everything is moving in that direction, that this is going to be a great story to be told this year. But I just don't think Texas is going to be as good as advertised. I don't think they should be favored to win the SEC right here, right now. I don't have them winning game 1 in Ohio State. And when it comes to, sure, making the playoffs, you can lose that week 1 matchup. You can lose that week 2 matchup, or you can lose 2 out of the first 6 weeks and then go on your stretch, your 7-8 game win streak, get into the playoffs. Heisman Trophy, I don't know if it's that easy, especially when we have some quarterbacks that could potentially be making names for themselves, slinging it and getting those victories, whether it's Cade Klubnik in Clemson, whether it's Nussmeier with LSU, like I discussed. Carson Beck, not enough conversation about him. We'll see. Maybe I'm hyping him up a little bit too much. And a bunch of the freshmen. You know, I just brought up Julian Sayin. Don't know much about him. Dante Moore is a name that everybody keeps bringing up. Ty Simpson. And then the kid from Michigan, Bryce Underwood. Like, there are potentially a lot of no-name players that are going to come in and have some big seasons. So are they in the running? Are they worth it to put $1 or $2 on to catch some of those long odds? I don't think so. I think that this is going to come down to the best player in college football being the best player week in, week out. And forgive me for saying this, but when you have a guy like Randy Moss who was unstoppable, right? And I know we got to go way back in the day, but he was unstoppable at Marshall, right? Throw it up, see ya. Jeremiah Smith is on that level, man. He is so much faster than everybody out there. And what he did at the end of last year in postseason and playoffs and the national championship game, which, oh, by the way, he scored. Did he score 2 touchdowns in that game? I don't know. He is the best player on the field. He will be the best player on the field no matter who the opponent is, even Texas. Doesn't matter. Jeremiah Smith, for my money, at 11-1. He's a top 5. He's a top 5, so it's not anybody down the board. I'm not trying to make that out to be the case here. But I just feel like that is a player that, or a play that you should have if you want to wager on the national or on the Heisman Trophy award. Like I said, you can make the case for these quarterbacks. And if you want to tell me that, you know what, I want to go down the board and I want to give a shot to a Bryce Underwood. I want to give a shot to, let's see here, Ty Simpson. Okay, I'm fine with that. But I'm going to stick with the best player on the field. He was throughout the course of crunch time last year in the playoffs and that national championship game. Jeremiah Smith, 11-1 for the Heisman Trophy. I am all over, and it would be a fun award to win, a fun wager to win if my man goes from start to the end of the season and ends up cashing that ticket. We'll have some fun there. I know we're going to be drafting those this week, and of course, everyone's going to be coming up with their futures this week. So wanted to get that out here on a Monday, but college football back in our lives. Let's go. All right, daily ticket rolling on. A couple more items we got to hit on the other side. Catch up from the weekend, a little bit more as far as housekeeping around here. Once again, we're going to be live at Ocean City, New Jersey tomorrow, covering all things Villanova football. Yeah, we are the home of the Villanova men's football and basketball team. I know they don't have a women's football team, but you understand what I'm saying. Taking on Colgate to open up the season on September 6th. Up there at Villanova, and then in that week 3 spot, I know it's the only second game of the season, but September 13th, taking on Penn State. Catch all of the Cats action right here on The Gambler. Oh, by the way, rocking out with the folks tomorrow in Ocean City, New Jersey. So tomorrow's show, you'll be hearing from head coach Mark Ferrante, a few players. My guy David Shapansky is doing big things for all things college radio over there at Villanova, and then some helped us behind the scenes. Going to start to hear him hopefully a little bit more on The Gambler. He's going to join us tomorrow. But Sean Barnard and Sam Oshtry will be hanging out with me as well, so we'll get a live daily ticket coming your way. Make sure you catch all that action tomorrow on your way home from work at 3 p.m. Speaking of Sean Barnard and Sam Oshtry, they're coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. It's The Gambler. Don't touch that dial. More of this. Hey, Villanova fans, be sure to catch the Cats down the shore. Villanova football's coming to Ocean City, New Jersey on Tuesday, August the 19th. Watch an open practice and scrimmage at Ocean City High School at 11 a.m. Then meet the team at Music Pier at 1:30 p.m. for some photos and autographs. Free admission. Don't miss the Cats at Ocean City, New Jersey. Go Nova.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
Streaming live only on Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances. And keep listening for the next chance to win your way there.
Lenovo and the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Tech that hits different. Can your gear keep up with the beat? Lenovo PCs are built for creators, dreamers, and fans who don't hit pause. Visit Lenovo.com for the latest in AI PCs and game-changing tech.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Heads up from 95 northbound HM while whipping to Penn's Landing with a disabled vehicle. The right lane's blocked. Further north, stop and go Gerard up the bridge, south of 95. Again, approaching Bridge to the Betsy Rossins over Lee Park to the Commodore Barry. Delays on the Blue Route northbound 95 to Media Swalford and southbound St. David's Route 1. Schuylkill eastbound heavy Blue Route to Belmont and Jam Boulevard to south. Westbound Jan, University to Girard and Boulevard to Belmont. Lara Tatella, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
David Goodstadt, founder and CEO of Ballers.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Oh, no, not again, Moose. That's my third premium ball in the water today.
So just grab another one, Harry.
Yeah, easy for you to say. These balls are expensive.
Not mine. I get all my balls from buymyballs.com. That's balls with a Z. Top quality, recycled, premium brands for a fraction of the price.
Wait a second, Moose. So you're playing premium balls and not freaking out when you lose one?
Yeah, you got it. Hurry up. You're holding everybody up.
Ha, yep. I'm ordering from buymyballs.com right now. Buy premium golf balls without the premium price. BuyMyBalls.com.
iHeart presents the Big Three Championship next Sunday, August 24th. The remaining two teams fight it out for the Big Three Championship Dr. J Trophy in the most physical, fierce, and competitive basketball league in the world. The action starts with the Big Three 8th Annual All-Star Game. The no-holds-barred action starts Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific, only on CBS.
You see what I see, love?
Her grandson splashing his mom with a cannonball?
You. Having heart failure is hard enough, but now you're having trouble opening the sunscreen. Carpal tunnel acting up again?
Yep, and there are my stomach issues. And how tired I am. I could use a nap.
Let's take a dip, and then we're calling your cardiologist to see what's going on, okay?
If you have heart failure and something's off, it may be ATTR-CM or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. It's a serious heart condition that gets worse over time. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Seeing what I see? Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
If you have back-to-school shopping to do, then you should make Macy's your first stop, because Macy's has back-to-school styles from brands like Nike and Jordan, must-have denim from Levi's and Good American, and now Macy's has Abercrombie Kids too. It's all in one place, all at great prices. And here's another reason to come in. If you're already at Macy's and you saved so much, you could stop by the fragrance counter and pick up something for yourself too. The best back-to-school styles are here now at Macy's.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
At the Buffalo 36, Dahlman sends it back in the shotgun as a clean pocket throws. Zacchaeus caught 15, 10, 5 to the end zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears. 36 yards. And the Bears strike. They lead at 6-0.
Doesn't it just sound so good? The fact that it's back in our lives. The fact that we're here. Football season again. Oh. This isn't it's not fake. This is what we do. But I feel like we're all in this together, right? This was an opinion that was absolutely shared by others out there. What's going on? Oh, the comments. There you go. Shout out to cousin Nikki checking in. Yeah, need tips on college football? Ask B&B, brace some beef. Love it. Can't win without some beef up front. I had couple things going on this weekend. Ended up hanging out with some friends on Friday night and Saturday afternoon, obviously families, and it just was the same, yo, dude, football, And college is taking on a new light for a lot of people too. I think the playoffs probably push some newbies in just a little bit, but specifically here around these parts, Penn State, the success that Penn State has had, whether you're buying it or not, it's the reality. I think it has raised up even more awareness. But the college football, a lot more big names, out there with Arch and, of course, what he's doing and what we saw last year with Dion and Travis Hunter, so on and so forth. So maybe it's all rolled up into one, but a lot of fun coming our way. And fantasy, of course, front and center for everybody out there. The guillotine fantasy leagues that everybody plays in now, which caught my attention a few years ago that I did like, added a new wrinkle into that. The survivor pool and just wagering when it comes to whether you're firing on the props or building those bet slips, those same game parlays, or the 2 touchdown players, that Joe Tanzi likes to cash in on from time to time. Yeah, can I get one of those a little early this year, Joe? It's just raised it up even more so. So we are here. This is a game week. College football kicks off on Saturday, and gas pedal from there on out. Of course, NFL doesn't get started till September, so all things college in those first 2 weeks, we love that, including into Labor Day, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, the Eagles will have a lot of success. Don't know if people are starting to change their tune on that one. I am not one of those guys, but we'll see. I don't expect them to be as dominant as they were last year, and that's just simply due to the fact of the schedule. The schedule is a little bit more difficult than I think people are discussing at this point in time, but we got a long way to go until we get into that. Do want to talk about, though, Caleb Williams, because that's when you look at the DraftKings odds to win that division, it brings up an interesting conversation because, I feel like everybody is already lock, stock, and barrel for the Detroit Lions and what they've been able to do with Dan Campbell, and that's understood, Jared Goff. But what they lost in this offseason, both coordinators, and that's not easy to replace. So you look at the Detroit Lions as a plus 160 favorite, the Packers at plus 250. How about Jordan Love gets thumb surgery on his left hand? And I almost texted the group last week, like, man, that's not good. Like, I get it's his left hand, but he's going to miss like 2 weeks, right? Practice and plays and all that. He was out there today, practicing today. Literally just got surgery 4 or 5 days ago. It's like, what? And, how about Lennon Dickerson getting the surgery last week, and then literally the next day he's out there on the practice field sweating, handing out Miller Lights. I don't think he was doing all that much, but he was still sweating, as all fat guys do. But still, it's like crazy that these dudes are getting the surgery and just him, 2 days off, let's go here. Anyways, with that being said, back to the division as far as the NFC North is concerned. Lions plus 160. Green Bay Packers, go Pack Go plus 250. Vikings 3-1. Chicago Bears 5-1. Are you starting to buy anything from the Bears' perspective? I do believe in Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson is a fantastic offensive mind. And what he was able to throw in as far as Detroit is concerned, I think he had a lot to do with their success. So you factor those two things in. I think Detroit's offense is going to take somewhat of a hit, as great as they were last year. Without Ben Johnson, I still feel like that there's going to be something missing there. And, oh, by the way, can somebody else raise their game up? I'm not sitting here telling you the Chicago Bears are going to that division. I'm actually on the Packers. I got the Green Bay Packers to win the North here. I'm a Jordan Love guy. LaFleur, I think that that's a good team. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, those 4 teams all play each other in week 1, which is pretty cool. It's a big, big, big deal as far as that division is concerned. Let's pull up those numbers real quick, and let's look at those opening spreads as far as NFL week 1 on DraftKings Sportsbook. The first game would be the Detroit Lions. Packers are a 1.5 favorite in Lambeau. That's right. Kyle Fisher's going to be there. Packers are a 1.5 favorite. Wow, that's a way to get the party started. 49.5 is your total in that one. And then on Monday night, we get the Vikings and the Bears. Vikings are a 1.5 favorite, 43.5. Could the Bears get that victory? Come on, man. You're a home team. Give your city something to cheer about. Well, I'm bringing up Caleb Williams because he did look good in that preseason game. Looked in control. Has some weapons. There's pretty good weapons on the offensive side as far as receivers are concerned. Spinning draft picks on the tight end. Run game, a little bit of a question, but Caleb Williams is going to sling it. And I like a lot of his overs. Again, it's all built off of health when you talk about full season play or anything like that. But he was talking a little bit after the game about the difference with, of course, Ben Johnson now being the head man in charge when it comes to the coaching and what he likes about that.
As far as Ben Johnson goes, don't let that baby face fool you, because this guy, I mean, he comes out swinging, but how is that going to benefit you in the end? His coaching style, he's hard on you, he's hard on the team, that he's trying to extract excellence out of everybody.
Yeah, it's important.
Great question.
It's important for being able to accomplish something that we all want to accomplish at the end of the day. So being able to have a coach like that, I mean, it's great. He pushes everybody, but he also shows that he cares. And so it's been important for us to have him. And, you know, we're excited to be able to go out there and fight for him and with him.
38-0 was your final score in that game. It was an absolute bloodbath. McDermott was absolutely furious with his team, as now they have dropped to 0-2. Nobody cares about that, but it's just all about the result and what you look like throughout the course of 4 quarters. And there wasn't anything to write home about from the Bills' perspective. But the Chicago Bears had a lot going, including Caleb Williams, who looks pretty good, man. And I know the guy before me says, you know what, there's some Brett Favre going on there. I'm not going to go that crazy, but I am intrigued to see him with Ben Johnson. I just think Caleb Williams has the talent, right? Like, there's a reason why he's number 1 overall. So you're giving that type of talent to a guy with, you know, that type of offensive mind who's had success in that division already. I do. I think the Bears are going to shake it up this year. Now, how far am I willing to go on the Chicago Bears? That is a good question. Week 1, am I willing to say that they're going to win as a home dog? Everybody's going to have the Bears, right? Let's just say they go 1-1 in the first 2. Then they got the Cowboys week 3 at home. I think it could be a disaster for the Cowboys this year. Really do. Like, I'm starting to rethink whether or not they're going to win like 5 games. I'm not lying to you. So let's just go 2-1 through 3. Raiders on the road. Let's go 2-2. Bears and Commanders. Let's go 2-3. Saints 3-3. Ravens 3-4. Bengals 3-5. Giants, I'll give them the win 4-5. Vikings again, so now that's 4-6. Steelers and Bears, let's give them the win there. That's at home 5-6. Eagles in Philly on November 28th. Let's go 5-7. Go Pack Go 5-8. Browns 6 wins. Packers again, 7 wins. Niners at the end of the season. I'll give them a win there. And then they got so I got the Bears winning 8 games off the top here. As far as wins are concerned, their win total for the Chicago Bears on DraftKings Sportsbook for this upcoming season at 8.5 is plus 115, over 7.5 at minus 170. I got them winning 8 wins. Am I willing to put money where my mouth is on the Chicago Bears? Not so much. It's not anything that I really am believing when it comes to the team play. But when you look at the player futures and you look at passing touchdowns, Caleb Williams is a guy that I'm looking at. I think Caleb Williams is going to light it up this year. I really do. They got some serious weapons as far as wide receivers are concerned, good tight end, good offense, and then you add in the mix that Ben Johnson is starting, or the offensive mind calling the plays here. 23.5 for Caleb Williams. I'll take the over on Caleb Williams throwing more than 24 touchdowns in the air this season. Where do you stand on that one? Is there a quarterback that has your attention? It's crazy. J.J. McCarthy is 24.5. Caleb Williams at 23.5. Man. That is really intriguing as far as those numbers are concerned. Wow. Yeah, we were talking a little bit about futures. I'm in with Michael Penix at 19.5. I might have to put this Caleb Williams at 23.5 to get a little of that Chicago Bear action to believe in a little bit, or to make me tune in a little bit more. But I do like the Packers to win that division. We'll be mixing in a lot more futures over these next 2 weeks here on the Daily Ticket / The Gambler. But that's going to be a real big push for that first week of September. That takes us right into the Eagles on Thursday. That's when you're going to get the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays, all things NFL conversation coming your way. Speaking of NFL conversation, I know the boys are going to mix it up. They get into it a little bit on the other side. Sam Oshtry and Sean Barnard. Sean likes to talk a little bit about more of the divisional previews. I know they're going to get into that, but he's making some statements out there that's getting chewed up on the timeline, talking about comparing Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, talking about, of course, his boy Justin Herbert, which he owns the backyard and all things Justin Herbert conversation. But I know that they're going to mix it up. They talk quarterbacks, and it's a fun hour coming your way on the other side. Oh, by the way, Sean and Sam will both be with me tomorrow, so catch them on tomorrow's Daily Ticket as well. Fun show today. We're off and running. Meant to hit this when I came back from commercial break. Unfortunately, it does seem that we did get some bad, whatever. You can't really say bad news. It's news that we thought would be here. Oh, man. Right-handed pitcher Zach Wheeler underwent a successful procedure to remove a blood clot in his right upper extremity this morning by the doctor at Thomas Jefferson Hospital. Further treatment and his subsequent timeline of recovery for Wheeler is TBD. So that went out about 3:35, 3:40 this afternoon. Rob Thompson did speak to the media, didn't have much to add, just said, it's up in the air. They don't know. A reporter did ask whether or not Wheeler would be done this season. He said he did not know. And then he did ask him, which I thought was a tough but a good question, is this career threatening? And Rob Thompson didn't have anything to add on that one. I think that's where we're at. How sad is that? How quick is that? We're talking about Wheeler leading this team to a fall classic and being the ace, and he's going to hang it up. He's already talking about retirement in a couple of years. He doesn't want to play anymore. I think he said 37, 38, whatever it was. And then now you get this news, and it's just like, wow. Like, you've put sports to the side. Like, this dude could call it a career, and he's one of the best pitchers in the game. Just absolutely gut-wrenching and really frustrating from a Phillies perspective. But they're back at it this evening, taking on the Seattle Mariners. We shall see what happens there. Oh, shout out to Chris Squire. He's talking about the Chicago Bears, and he's checking in right now. Always great to hear Chris Squire. Oh, he says 10-7. 10-7. Where do you see the 10 wins, Chris? Come on. That's some home cooking right there, but we understand it. We appreciate that as far as that is concerned.
My Lord.
10 wins. I would love to see it. 10 wins. You win the division. Go ahead and take that F plus 500 there. We're talking some NFL. We're talking some college football. Nothing better. All right. Phillies back in action this evening. Once again, taking on the Seattle Mariners. Big story there, of course, is Zach Wheeler and his health. But Ranger Suarez need to get a good start from Ranger. Has not given that in quite some time, including 11 earned runs over his last 2 starts. So will tonight be any different? We'll be breaking it all down tomorrow. Look forward to doing so. You know what? While you're on your way home, folks, perfect time for you to slide by Rita's. Check out ritasIce.com to find a location near you. And make sure you sign up for the rewards. Just download the app, and you can get some good, sweet treats for free. Yeah, download the new Rita's Ice app on your phone, and you will get rewarded. It's that simple, all right? They reward you just for showing up. ritasIce.com. And I might have to slide by, how about tomorrow, on my way down the AC, as it's nice and warm for that gummy bear ice. All right, keeping it moving. On the other side, Sam Oshtry and Sean Barnard, they got you with picks and roll coming up. And then I'll be back tomorrow, once again, broadcasting live from Ocean City, New Jersey, with Villanova football. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Good luck on your plays. We'll talk to you.
iHeart presents the Big 3 Championship next Sunday, August 24th. The remaining 2 teams fight it out for the Big 3 Championship. Dr. J